When we look into the night sky, we see an ocean of light scattered across impossible darkness. Galaxies drift like distant embers. Stars burn with ancient fire. The scale is overwhelming, so vast that human life feels like a whisper inside a cosmic storm. And yet, despite this immensity, one strange thing remains true. The universe does not answer us. It does not explain itself. It does not offer reasons. Meaning is not written across the stars. Only silence is. Still, here on Earth, human beings cannot tolerate silence. We respond to the void with stories, systems, and philosophies. We build religions, ideologies, and personal missions. We insist that life must mean something, not just exist, but justify itself. This hunger for meaning is so deeply rooted in the human psyche that we rarely question it. We assume meaning is necessary, even sacred. But some thinkers have dared to challenge this assumption at its foundation. One of the most disturbing among them was Emil Cioran, a philosopher who walked willingly into despair rather than decorate reality with comforting illusions. He did not try to make existence more acceptable. He tried to see it clearly. And what he saw was this: meaning is often not truth. It is anesthesia. Human beings suffer. That is unavoidable. Loss, decay, disappointment, anxiety, and mortality are not accidents of life. They are part of its structure. But instead of facing suffering directly, we wrap it inside explanations. We say pain has purpose. We say struggle builds destiny. We say everything happens for a reason. Meaning becomes a shield placed between ourselves and the raw fact of existence. But what if that shield is also a cage? Cioran believed that our obsession with purpose is not wisdom, it is resistance. A refusal to accept reality unless it flatters us. We demand that life justify the pain it contains. We negotiate with existence as if it owes us clarity. Yet existence never signed that contract. From childhood onward, we are trained to interpret life through narrative. You are told you are here for something. Your suffering will pay off. Your struggle will make sense later. Your story will resolve. But notice how meaning is always positioned in the future. It is rarely present. Only promised meaning delays experience. Instead of living now, we live toward explanation. We endure moments rather than inhabit them. We convert existence into a project. And once life becomes a project, it is never complete, only progressing. The finish line moves forward forever. Satisfaction becomes temporary. Fulfillment becomes conditional. Cioran saw this as a psychological defense mechanism. Meaning protects the mind from chaos. It turns randomness into design. It transforms vulnerability into mission. But in doing so, it also distances us from reality. We stop seeing what is and start seeing what must be true in order for us to feel safe. Modern culture intensifies this illusion. We are surrounded by messages that insist purpose is everything. Find your calling. Discover your mission. Build your legacy. Leave impact. These ideas sound empowering, but they also create pressure. If your life must mean something, then ordinary existence becomes a failure. The result is quiet despair. People feel lost not because life lacks value, but because it lacks assigned purpose. They do not suffer from emptiness. They suffer from expectation. Meaning becomes a demand placed on existence, rather than an observation about it. Cioran did not argue that people should become hopeless. He argued they should become honest. He believed there is strange freedom in admitting that the universe is indifferent. That suffering is not always meaningful. That existence is not required to justify itself. Because once you stop demanding that life explain itself, you begin to see it directly. He wrote in fragments, contradictions, and philosophical detonations, not because he was confused, but because existence itself is not tidy. He trusted paradox more than system. He trusted experience more than comfort. His insomnia, exile, and internal anguish were not distractions from his philosophy. They were its laboratory. For him, writing was not expression. It was survival. A way to delay annihilation by articulating the void instead of denying it. He did not offer comfort. He offered clarity. And clarity, in a world addicted to meaning, feels like darkness. But darkness has a strange property. It reveals the stars. Reading Emil Cioran is not like reading a motivational philosopher. It feels more like standing at the edge of a cliff and being asked not to step back. His words remove the padding around existence. He forces the reader to sit with discomfort, not to break them, but to wake them. He is often labeled a nihilist, but his nihilism is misunderstood. He did not celebrate emptiness, he accepted it. And acceptance, for him, was not surrender. It was liberation. When meaning collapses, something unexpected happens. You are no longer obligated to perform significance. You no longer need to convert every wound into a lesson or every struggle into destiny. Experience is allowed to be exactly what it is. Intense, temporary, unfinished. This creates a new kind of authenticity. Without cosmic purpose. Responsibility becomes personal rather than universal. You stop living for explanation and start living for awareness. Moments become sharper. Beauty becomes more fragile. Time becomes more precious. Not because it leads somewhere, but because it does not. Cioran saw despair not as failure, but as a form of lucidity. Despair strips illusion. It removes false hope. It forces confrontation with limits. And in that confrontation, a different strength appears. Not optimism, but resilience. He believed creativity is often born from fracture. That great art does not emerge from comfort, but from pressure. History confirms this pattern again and again. Creators, composers, and painters turning anguish into form. Pain becomes not purpose, but fuel. Suffering does not automatically ennoble, but it clarifies. Modern happiness culture tells us to avoid darkness at all costs. Distract yourself. Stay positive. Optimize mood. But emotional avoidance produces fragility, not strength. When people refuse sorrow, they also weaken joy. Depth requires contrast. Night makes stars visible. Cioran argued that awareness of death intensifies life. Not symbolically, directly. Mortality removes postponement. When you accept that time is finite, trivial illusions lose power. Urgency replaces fantasy. Presence replaces projection. He rejected grand metaphysical answers, but he did not reject experience. He believed meaning is not discovered in the structure of the universe. It is created locally, temporarily, personally. Not eternal meaning, but situational meaning. Not cosmic purpose, but human choice. This is what makes his thought paradoxically hopeful. Not hopeful in outcome, but in freedom. When false meaning dies, real perception begins. You stop asking, what is life for? And begin asking, what is life like? That shift changes everything. You become less protected, but more alive. Cioran never promised peace, but he offered something rarer, honesty without anesthesia. And for those willing to face it, that honesty becomes a strange, fierce form of grace.